in terms of politics getting into a university like Kathmandu University, and how do you keep politics away from education?
In Kathmandu University, we only thing we get is some threats about the donation or some promotion, but we are very particular about it. And the biggest strength is the students. Whenever there are some political party organization tries to disturb the classes, they are the ones, they say we don't want our classes to be cancelled. And one best thing is that there are few the few organizations of students affiliated to political parties, but they are also very responsible. They don't want their own calendar to disturb. So, and we have, very fortunately, we have got the non-political system of electing student representative. We call it the Student Welfare Council. So it is completely non-partisan. Each school unit has it, and they are the biggest strength of stopping unnecessary politics within the university. And we don't, except in some of the unforeseen things, like during Gen Z movement, we had to postpone classes for 15 days due to security concerns. It did not last that, but we took precautions. During COVID, we had some backlog of 6 months. Otherwise, we are committed. Everybody is committed. Teachers are committed. The staff are committed. The students are committed to complete their studies.
I also want to shift this more into the productive economy, more of how our funds or our economy is more heavily relied on remittance, and how, let's suppose, the investment is more on the unproductive side, and how we can make it into more productive side.
There are phases. Let me say at the role of remittance. At the initial days, the remittance played a very important role in reducing poverty. There were a lot of people not getting nutritious food, their children not getting into school, their families not getting medicine. That phase is somehow now over. And generally, we don't see a lot of crisis in those fronts these days. You don't hear huge stories about famine, scarcity, or not having access to basic medical facilities. And during very difficult time of crisis, remittances helped for the overall macroeconomic stability. So that was great. But it is again the policy of the state that should have planned to utilize these funds for uplifting the economic performance of the entire economy. You cannot put this responsibility to the remitters who go abroad to work and also bring back money and develop that. There are ways which we have not considered. For example, when we created federalism, the municipalities should not have been considered about the crude political units. They should have been thought as economic units, the productive economic units, smaller economies in themselves, providing employment, at least producing something, taking the products into the market. So in that way, we have failed to mobilize our system. So that is one. Not only the remittance, we don't have to look into the remittance. See the amount of loanable fund available in the bank. Okay. So we have the model, but we are not practicing it to utilize it. For example, we have a Nepal Oil Corporation. It is not that it earns profit always. Whenever there is a problem, there is a state behind it, providing needed liquidity in the form of loan from Employment Provident Fund to insurance companies, even from the state coffers. Why? Because it was treated as a corporate entity. despite being owned by the government, it earned and paid back. But if you have got so much money in the system, why you cannot have the same business model in infrastructure? Why you can't have a same business model in education? Nepal can be one of the biggest hub of medical education. If you invest in creating a 2, 3, 4 good medical universities or medical hospitals with good teaching hospitals. Same thing may apply in engineering. Same thing may apply in Buddhist studies. Today, on this day, Bhutan announced that it would be creating a mindfulness city, investing $1 billion to create a city. What it is doing is it is just giving the people, tourists, a service they wanted to be happy. Probably teaching some Buddhist sermons or having sessions of the singing bowl or anything. The product they might decide, but they have invested. So Nepal has got money, and why we can't have productivity? The pathetic part is, even we are not able to spend the budget, the capital budget we announced in the annual budget speech.
Mm-hmm.
In 5 months, we have spent less than 10%, 8% we have already barely spent 8% of it. So this is the governance. That is where I say two circles. Mm-hmm. If you think of the government productivity, spending all the capital budget it has allocated, and this government system, the process system should work. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have the result. So what we are doing, we are not even fully making functional the federal system, and we are now debating, should we change the constitution? Should we revert from the federal system to unitary system? Whereas we never fully mobilize the strength of this system. So you may change the name of the system, but if once again, if you do not bring in capable people from the political process and the bureaucratic process, we are going to face the same problem. And that is where the young politicians, aspiring politicians should intervene. Okay, I can be happy for next 10 years without taking a single rupee bribe and trying to give service to the people, unlike their predecessors did, with dilly-dallying and creating unnecessary hassle. That is not happening.
How are we struggling to spend money? Because from a normal point of view, people who don't really know about economics, spending is one of the easiest thing to do. So how is government struggling to spend money?
They don't have the plan. That is where I say, not only the government, the people don't have demand for development. People have not demanded any substantial amount of development. Only thing they have said, we probably, if some budget comes, we'll have a dozer model of development in the hills. That's no. Where have you seen we would like to participate and we need a quality education institution? Which minister have you seen that I need a good skill development center in my area, which produces the skilled manpower? So even the people are not demanding, and we don't have the plans. If you look at this 5-year plans, they are the same essay writing exercises for several years. I try to look into the 16th plan, and being in the education industry, I said, okay, what is our projection? How many doctors will we need in next 20 years, or how many bankers we need? If you want to have a fully developed hospitality or tourism industry, how many bachelor's degree holders we might need in 10 years' time? It doesn't say anything, and it says a 5-year plan. Because we never believed that this plan should be written by a qualified people. And when we're talking about the qualified people, we are not talking about thousands of people. Even in politics and even in planning, there are not 100 Gandhis, they change the country. There are not 100 Mandelas, they change the country. There are not 100 Lee Kuan Yew, they change the country. In politics, they should have a people with a moral authority, not legal authority, not constitutional authority. We are debating only the constitutional authority and all. Mahatma Gandhi never had a constitutional power, but he could sway the country. So, a person with moral authority, single 1 or 2% should have a vision. And all the people, like Nehru may not have been an ascetic like Gandhi, but he had a tremendous knowledge. He knew what he wanted to do. One finest example is three-wheelers. You know what happened? He went to Japan and came back, and he went to many old cities of India. There was no possibility of a car going into the streets. And the three-wheeler served the purpose of a car. And it became so famous all over India, even in the subcontinent. So, you should know what you are doing. And being in politics, without the knowledge, what do you exactly want to do? Okay, person X wants to be Prime Minister maybe 4th time. So what new that person is likely to do? A minister 5th time. So if there is no vision and creativity, what is the ground reality and what I can really contribute in terms of a planning and implementation of the same, you are going to running into vicious cycle. That is exactly the problem. And if there are some thinkers in any party, they were very systematically ostracized by the so-called power grabbing, and there is no protest from the youths. It is not required even to have ideology less, vision less political force, which even cannot work. There will not be a binding organizing force without a sort of defined kind of vision and ideology. But if there is willingness to get into all these parties of their liking and transform them into the good democratic institution, that will automatically change things.